season 1 plot. I'm only going to explain the season 1 plot, and then I'll just go into a little bit of how the rest of the show went out. Season 1 plot, so there were the Housewives that I've established already, and they're all friends. And then there's another one who I have not mentioned. Her name is Mary Alice Smith. She puts a gun to her head and shoots it in the first episode. People don't really know what happened. At first, people are like, oh my god, like, we didn't know anything was happening with her. But we find out that right before she died, she got a letter in the mail. She saw it. She was really sad when she saw it, like a look of like, oh my god, sadness came over her. Then she went in the house and clearly something was in that letter. I saw this premise and I was like, oh my god, this is Pretty Little Liars, but with Housewives. I'm so excited. You know? It's not that. In Pretty Little Liars, the investigation is like half of the show, and the other half is their romances and whatever. In this show, what the Housewives do is fully like their romance, financial drama, like their stories, whilst other characters that are introduced that season are doing their own dark deeds and figuring out, and like the investigation is going on, basically. For example, in season 1, basically the whole thing is their son is actually Mike's son that he had with this woman who died, I think. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. And they stole the child from this woman. And then the woman had tried to come back and be like, that's my son, give him back. Because at the time she wasn't using anymore. And she was like, that's my son, give him back to me now. I'm his mom, I'm completely sober and clean, give me back my son. Then Mary Alice Smith killed that woman because she wanted to keep her son. And so she got a letter saying, we know what you did. So she did that. A little extreme, TBH, but whatever. So that's happening while the Housewives are just doing their shit. And they're never investigating. Which is kind of upsetting in my opinion. I feel like that would have been so fun. But whatever. A point I want to make before I go any further is this show is Sex and the City for white Republican moms. Whereas Sex and the City is for liberal white moms. And I thought about that and I was like, wait, am I right? Because when you think about it, Carrie is Susan, the two writers who are goofy and really annoying. Miranda is Lynette, the working women. Bree is Charlotte, the traditionalists. And Gabby is Samantha, the fun, iconic party girl. I was about to say that Samantha and Gabby would probably hate each other, but now that I think about it, they definitely, when Gabby was living in New York as a model, her and Samantha definitely went clubbing together. Like 1,000%. Samantha probably set her up with Carlos. Oh my god, wait, okay, now, this is a small tip. This is the Sex and the City, Desperate Housewives, special episode. Crossover episode. Carrie and Susan probably know each other either from, university, because they probably both, got an English degree or something, or, they went to some kind of book signing convention at the same time, and they, walked past each other. Susan definitely follows Carrie's blog, though. 100%. 100% blog. You know what I mean. Bree probably bought a painting from Charlotte, because if I remember correctly, Charlotte is a gallery person. She probably bought a painting from that woman. And then probably on the phone she was like, I do hate abstract art. It's silly. Because Bree has questionable politics. I don't know in a world if Lynette and Miranda would ever meet. They probably, met at some, when Lynette was, a swanky businesswoman, they probably met on some business trip or something. And they would get along. Out of all of these characters, those two would get along so well. They'd probably have brunch together or something, all of them together, later in life or whatever. And it would be super awkward and tense, and, they would kind of break the ice, but, it would just, the vibes would not be right. And the Desperate Housewives would talk about it, like, literally forever. They would talk shit about that event forever. And the Sex and the City girls would be like, okay, you know. Now, let's talk about representation in this show. Because I know that's the question you've been dying for. Are there gay people in Desperate Housewives? Are there gay? The list of gay people in Desperate Housewives goes as follows. Bree's son Andrew is a gay man. He starts off as like a teenager, and then there's a 5-year jump, and then he's like a man. He starts off as a rebel, and obviously his homosexuality is like part of this in his character. It's pretty clear that Bree does not like that her son is gay, but she kind of just like ignores it. But there are parts in the show where she's like more accepting of it, but I think it's framed in a weird way, where like she will be very like, I don't want to talk, like she will very much be avoiding the topic of conversation about him being gay. But then when she's trying to gain his trust, because she's like, my son is acting out, I need to gain his trust. Oh, I'll let him bring his boyfriend home for dinner. And it's like, that's good and all, but like, I don't like how the message is like, look how good your mom is being, you know, considering you're gay. You know what I mean? I don't like that. But this show is not woke in any regard. So I'll take what I can get. The worst thing, though, he probably ever does is there's a point in the show when Bree is an alcoholic and she is dating a guy who's her sponsor, which is bad. Don't ever do that. And he basically seduces her sponsor because he's a sex addict, the sponsor, and he's bisexual. And again, at this point, he's like 17. Many comments, but I don't want to make them right now. And then she abandoned, and then that's her last straw for all his rebellion. So she abandons him on the side of the road with some money. He becomes a homeless gay youth on the street and resorts to sex work. And that's when she finally decides, hey, it's time to come back home. She's obviously very sorry for that later, but Jesus Christ, you know? Jesus Christ. The other gay representation is they have gay neighbors in, I think, season 4. And then continue to be on the show. They are really just like some sassy side characters who come in every now and again to just be like, oh, sweetie, that topiary bush is bad, you know? And they're kind of funny, but also, like, just gay jokes. Just gay jokes. And I can feel the pain of the guys who play those characters every time they talk. Yeah. They're pretty boring, so, like, I don't really have much to say about. Oh, and Katherine? Okay, I've stopped watching. I'm mid-season 6. Jesus Christ. And there's 8 seasons of this show, I believe. Katherine is gay now? Like, she has turned gay? Scientific term? No, she's realizing gay thoughts. Okay, now you might be also asking, what's the people of color representation like in this show? It's bad. It's really bad. All of the people are white people except for the Solis family. But again, like I've kind of mentioned, Gabrielle is just a, like, angry, spicy Latina stereotype. And Carlos is a crime lord. So, great representation, guys. Great. An abusive crime lord. Great representation. Oh, have you been wondering, are there any black families in the show? Are there any black people? Well, there was in season 2, and never again. Hey. I forgot to mention something in this part, because at that point when I filmed this video, I did not finish the show, but unfortunately in the time that I have filmed this, or like finished editing this and whatever, I have finished Desperate Housewives! Woohoo! Thank you. But I would like to say that there is one other black character who becomes a part of the main cast in the time of the show. So that adds us up to 4 black people in Desperate Housewives. Woo! Her name is Renee Perry. She basically becomes Edie Brit,
like, same kind of vibe, like, a whore. Loves fashion, is sassy. Her representation is kind of questionable because, again, she does fall into a lot of sassy black women stereotypes. But she's fun. I like her. I think she's a fun addition to the cast. I mean, since Edie's not there, you might add something. Whoop! I forgot that my friend is watching it right now. Never mind, you heard nothing. Anyway, but just keep that in mind. But yeah, okay. Anyway, bye-bye.
Basically, in season 2, the whole plotline is this family moves into a house on the lane. They have, and it's a black woman and her 2 sons. We think it's just one son, that she's just there with her one son. But we find out that she has her other son locked in the basement because he murdered a girl. And he's also has some mental situation, so he's just like scary, you know? Like that's what they're going for. I'm not saying he is, I'm just saying that's what they're going for. And they're no. And their whole thing is that they don't want to let him out of the basement because they're scared he's gonna murder women. Specifically white women, because, you know, there's only white women in this show. And we find out that basically the brother who lives above ground, he was dating a girl. They broke it off. Well, he broke it off with the girl. His other brother, who's in the basement, met up with the girl. This is before they moved here, by the way. Met up with the girl. He was like, "Oh, you want to date me instead?" She was like, "No, you're a freak." He got mad at her and he bashed her over the head with the rock. He ran away. Then the brother above ground came, saw what happened. She woke up. She was not, like, dead. And then she was like, "Your brother did this to me." He was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." Yada yada. And she was like, "You have to take me to a hospital." And he was like, "No, because my brother did that to you. They're gonna arrest my brother." And she was like, "Well, like, yeah, they should. Your brother is dangerous. He just bashed me over the head, dude." And then he violently murders her with the rock. Is that necessarily bad on its own? Maybe not. But many people in this show have killed people, like many people, but they are never shown as brutal as it is for those 2. And I just feel like it. It's just exploits white mothers not wanting their daughters to date black dudes. That's just the vibe I get from it. I can't exactly pinpoint a part, but all of it. I think I can pinpoint all of it. I think I can just do a fucking around it, and yeah, that was a Sharpie, by the way. That was a big fucking marker. Oh, and any other person of color you see on the show is just a racist stereotype, a la the weird Chinese maid that Carlos cheats on his wife with. Now that I've talked about a few of the problematic things on this show, and I will get back to it, I want to talk about some weirdly woke things in Desperate Housewives. In the season I'm watching right now, they are basically kind of introducing a character who I assume is going to be kind of a series regular, who is an ex-stripper, and she wants to be an art teacher, such a teacher, and everyone loves her. Like, sure, at first there are kind of comments about her past career, and they constantly make jokes about it, but there's a whole episode where it's literally dedicated to, like, the wives learning that she is worthy of respect and she's not here to steal their husbands, and to the men to, like, treat her as a person because she is a very good, kind-hearted person. And she is. She's a well-rounded, kind of nice person. And it's kind of interesting that they have a whole episode dedicated to, like, hey, maybe be nice to sex workers. Even though I know this would be different if she was still actively a sex worker. It's obviously different because she is an ex-stripper, which is unfortunate, but whatever. Oh, and she's gay? Like, she gets with Katherine. Oh my god. Hi. She gets with Katherine. I think so. I think they're gonna end up together, but that's kind of fun. Alright.
Hey, bitch ass. Update, Claudia's back. I thought she was gonna be a series regular, but it turns out she was only there for like 5 episodes, which is so upsetting because her character is really nice. And her and Katherine, which I mentioned earlier, I thought they were gonna be like in a relationship in the show. That does not happen. They run off to France together. And then Katherine comes back in the last season on one of the last episodes, and they're like, "Oh, where's your girlfriend?" And she's like, "Oh, I realized I'm not a lesbian." So that's really fucking upsetting.
Shaking things up in Wisteria Lane, I see. I think another thing that I enjoy about this show is that it's like, it says, it's like being a housewife is good. It's not explaining it in this way where it's like, I am holier than thou because I am a housewife. This is, this job requires great sacrifice, but I am not a selfish whore and I will do this job. No, it's very much like, I am a housewife. This is the this is the career path I have decided on, and I like it. It has its good moments and it has its bad moments, but that's life. And that's kind of cool. It's kind of a realistic and refreshing approach to talking about housewives. Because we either talk about them in a way where we're like, they're trapped, or we're like, they're the best thing in the world. And also, most of the women in this show remarry or have boyfriends. Most of these women have a lot of sex. Some have no kids. Some have a lot of kids. And it's all fine, which I think is kind of cool. Like they're not shamed for that. Like a little bit, but like not really. One thing ever since I finished the show that I wanted to mention was there is a plot line where a character, long story, can't even begin to describe this one, where he develops a like a safe house for people who've just left prison, and he does this intentionally because he wants to like destroy the neighborhood. And at first, obviously, because this is a very conservative leaning show, all of our characters are like, no, this is going to ruin the neighborhood. There's going to be rapists out on the street with our children playing ball, you know, like that kind of fear mongering. But then one of the kids of one of the parents is like, because they're doing like a protest for this, because he's doing like a big old speech and whatever. And one of the kids goes to his mom and he's like, why are we doing this? And she's like, well, because we're protecting you guys. We're protecting the children. Because we don't want you guys, like, we want to make this area safe for you guys. And then he was like, well, if they're not here, if they're not in a safe, welcoming neighborhood like these ex-cons, then where are they gonna go? Are they gonna go on the street? Like, he kind of develops an understanding of the prison industrial complex. And I mean, that prison house never gets made. That Safeway house never gets made because obviously they would never commit to anything like that. But I remember watching that and being like, oh shit. Okay, now that I talk a little nice about this show, I'm going to talk about the not so nice things about this show, the less woke things, besides the racial things I mentioned. Like, I'm talking like core ideologies of the show here. There's a lot of small things. Like, I can't think of a specific plot line where I was like, that is not woke at all. No, I'm talking like the general, like, what the show wants you to take away from it. And it all comes down to my favorite, Edie Brit. You just have to look at Edie's character for 2 seconds and realize they have such a bias against this woman. Most of the women and men on this show have cheated on their significant other. But Edie is viewed as a whore in the show. She's viewed as a slut because she is unmarried for most of it during the duration of the show. Only for the 5th season is she married. She gets cheated on twice in her relationships by women in the group. I mean, like, she'll be in a relationship and then that man will cheat on Edie with a member of the group. One time it's Susie, one time it's Gabby. I would literally murder my friend if they did that to me. But anyway, at one point in the show, she blackmails Bree because she knows that her son isn't actually her son, which is bad. Like, it is bad. But do you know what she wants? All she wants? She wants to be included in the group. Are you kidding me? That's so sad when you think about it. Like, that's so sad that all she wants is just to be included in this group. And that's saying something, because these women are horrible. I know I love Brie, I know I love Lynette, but they are all horrible people. And the girls ban her from Wisteria Lane when they find out that she's blackmailing Brie. That, like, my friend was getting blackmailed by someone. I would be like, oh my god, that's horrible. What do they want? She'd be like, she wants to hang out with us and be our friend. I'd be like, wait, that's so sad. Why is she so sad? Oh my god, I'm not gonna be your friend, but oh my god, that's so sad. Then, in season 5, she gets a husband who is crazy, and he doesn't actually love her, he just wanted to come to Wisteria Lane to get closer to Mike and Susan, because Susan got in a car crash, and she killed a mother and daughter. And those were that man's children and wife. Yeah. So he wants to kill them. Revenge. You get it. But yeah, he's not even doing it because he likes Edie. And Edie is a catch. I don't understand. I don't understand how this woman has so much unluck, has such a lack of luck when it comes to relationships when she's a legend. I don't understand. And do you know how, and I mentioned earlier she dies. Do you know how she dies? She gets choked out by her husband because she finds out why he's here. She, like, gets away from him. She's like, oh my god, I need to go tell someone. She gets in the car, obviously dazed. Orson is walking because he's about to steal. Long story on that. But he's walking in the middle of the street. She almost crashes into him, but she veers off. There's a light pole. She crashes into it. You think that's what kills her. No, she gets electrocuted by the light thing and then dies. In the most humiliating death ever. Like, are you freaking kidding me? The actress who plays her is really good, and she makes Edie really likable. So I think they constantly have this problem where they will make Edie a character who's really cool and really likable, and like you'll be like, wait, I get her side of things. And then the writing will be like, oh shoot, we made her too likable. Put in a part where she gets cheated on, or put in a part where her boyfriend breaks up with her, or she falls all funny, or something. It's so sad. It's really sad. Should you watch this show? Absolutely not. But if you love trash television like I do, if you like shows like Pretty Little Liars, Gossip Girl, that bitch in Apartment 23, Riverdale, you should watch this show just because it will amuse you. It will. It will do that. I can tell you that much. It will amuse you. So in conclusion, I'm a MILF now.